The Hazy podcast is brought to you by EKtheDJ and Michael Reid. Join them each season as they discuss the adventures contained in various audiobooks. This season, they'll be providing reactionary commentary on the So I Got Hazed audiobook by Michael Reid.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of So They Got Hazed?
Question mark?
Last week, we made an attempt to record this episode, and there was a sabotage, a tractor trailer carrying BBs got turned over. There was a bus full of nuns and then another bus with orphan children, and there was crash. It was chaos everywhere, and Mike forgot to hit record. So we're doing this one again. And it's going to be all good because you know what? We got to hear these stories last week. We got practice reading them. We're going to deliver them with precision tonight. And they're going to come off great because now instead of laughing in the middle of the story, I'll be able to hold my I hope I'm going to be able to hold my composure and not laugh through a story. But we're going to start with number 60 in So They Got Hazed, available on Amazon. And this story, I'm going to start this. Hey, you hit record, right?
Oh, absolutely. It was such a perfect intro. I couldn't even interrupt. I just wanted to stay stoic. Yes, I fucked up last week. I did not turn your line in on. I had everything else turned on except for line in and apparently my brain and the checklist not done. After you, sir.
So we're good to go. Climbing gear. Characters Ron and LT. One night, LT got extremely wasted in my old fraternity house. During a party, he disappeared into his bedroom. He slipped into some pink boxers and climbing gear. Then he came out of his room and rejoined the party. Every person at the party thought it was pretty hysterically creepy.
It's a quick story, but yeah, that's
a
pretty
quick story.
Creepy to come out into a party in climbing gear and your boxers.
Put yourself in that position, right, where you're at a party and the person who lives in the house, because I believe at that time he was living in the house, right?
Yes. That's how he went into his room to change into climbing gear, so yes.
So the person living in the house disappears, comes back, and he's wearing his underwear and climbing gear, which I can only assume is gloves and boots.
And the harness.
And a harness. That does make it even weirder.
Plus, if you're in the house and you're not used to that and you just kind of catch it at the corner of your eye, you're like, what's this weird sex thing that this person has on them?
What's this weird? What's he like being strapped down for?
Yeah, if this is what this guy is like a little bit wasted, what's he like full-blown wasted?
For reals. All right, 62 is you, my friend.
Number 62, Please Wake Up. Characters, Corbin, Pauline, Summer, and Tony. Tony was dating one of our sweethearts named Summer. She was on the school's field hockey team. She lived in a big house with several other female athletes. Tony spent a fair amount of time at Summer's house while they were having their month-long love affair. Early one morning, Summer's roommate burst into her room in a panic. Her name was Pauline, and she was sleeping with one of my fraternity brothers named Corbin. Corbin had a bad habit of wetting the bed and drinking to the point where he couldn't be woken up, a dangerous combination. Pauline was crying. She said, "Tony, wake up. You need to get your boy." Tony was half asleep and still drunk. He rolled over and said, "Who?" "Corbin," she answered. "Why?" Tony asked. "He pissed in my bed and my boyfriend is coming into town any minute." Tony shot out of bed. He went to Pauline's room and attempted to wake Corbin up. It took 20 minutes before he was even able to partially wake him up. Tony tried carrying Corbin across the street, but he wasn't strong enough. He kept dropping him on the cement, and Corbin kept hitting his head. When Tony realized he wasn't strong enough to carry Corbin, he dragged him back into Summer's house. He left him on the sofa. Tony went back upstairs and fell asleep. Later in the day, when Tony came back downstairs, he found out Corbin had pissed all over the girl's sofa. Corbin had peed in Pauline's bed and the living room sofa all in one visit.
What a dick move.
There's a lot to unpack just in that one story. That if this is the one story you pick out of the book, it's just kind of glazed over that he has a bad habit of wetting the bed and drinking to the point where he couldn't be woken up. A dangerous combination. Like, what a great way to start an introduction to a character.
How though? Like how is that a habit where you drink too much and pee the bed? Like after the first embarrassing story you hear about yourself the next day,
Mm-hmm.
wouldn't you change
But
or
maybe
or
it's
dial it
that,
back?
yeah, I personally, yeah. But maybe it's that Uricis or whatever it is, and it just hits him uncontrollably. You never know. Or maybe he just doesn't give a
Never know.
fuck, and he's like, fuck all of you guys. I'll be drunk while it's happening, and I won't remember, so... And then the fact that
Yeah.
Tony dropped somebody on the cement multiple times while they were unconscious.
Multiple times.
And
Multiple times.
Drag them back, like, he could have had severe brain damage. You did more harm than good. And then let's just rewind it one more step, bro. My boyfriend's coming into town. I need you to help me get your fraternity brother out of my bed. Holy crap. Talk about bad planning.
I mean, do you think she owned the pee? Like, because there's no you got to replace that mattress, right? Like, there's no.
You have to own
like,
the pee.
So she had to be like, I pissed my bed.
I'm pretty sure she kept that same mattress, and I'm pretty sure because I ended up sleeping in that bed at a later point in time, and we didn't have sex or anything, but I asked her about that, and she's like, no, same bed. Be too expensive otherwise. Oh, and then she said, because I wet the bed too. I'm like, okay, great. If I wake up wet, I will be very disappointed. Man, you can't judge. I mean, it's her property. If they want to keep a pissy bed, they'll keep a pissy bed. You're up, 72 Rollie Chair.
There was a girl at a mixer that we had once, and I had known her because I was good friends with another girl in her sorority, from youth. And she got way pissy drunk at one of our parties, and to keep an eye out for her, I was like, you just come back to the house, you can crash on the couch, because she lived driving distance from campus.
Okay.
So in the middle of the night, I hear like water spilling, like I can hear it, like I'm thinking there's a leak or I left a window open or something, and I come out of my room and she is in the middle of the living room. You remember like my weird shaped living room?
Mm-hmm.
She's in the middle of my living room and she's just squatting and pissing on the floor in the middle of the living room floor. And like she's blacked out, drunk. And I'm just like,
I would hope so.
I can't deal with this right now. And I just went back in the bedroom and went to sleep.
Oh. Then did she come back? Or
she
no?
was still there in the morning, passed out on the couch.
Okay, so she didn't leave after that? I would have left right after that.
She was blacked out drunk.
Wow. She came back and slept on the sofa.
I think I gave her a ride. I don't think I told her that she
I would have
pissed on
told
the
her.
floor.
I'd been like, hey, listen, next time, I know it's hard to find bathrooms sometimes, but you can find a kitchen or a trash can and just go fucking piss in a sink.
She didn't remember leaving the party.
Well, good thing that we were always looking out and making sure that those types of people didn't.
I'm saying, yeah, because it was one of those parties where it was an open party.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't a mixer, so like there was people there that we didn't know.
Maybe that's why like all of the girls that frequented our parties trusted us so much, like inexplicit compared to all other guys. They trusted us at all times. And maybe it's because we had a good reputation for...
I was going to say, I think we just had a good reputation for that in particular.
Yeah. You get wasted, one of us will walk you home. It might be a couple shitty pledges, but somebody will walk you home. You'll be safe.
Someone's making sure, yeah. Someone's making sure you get where you're going.
I mean, because if I'm having a good time, you got here on your own. We could call you a cab, but the shitty pledges will get you there.
Right.
They'll call us if they need us.
That happened to me a couple times because I had a license. I had a car and a license, so like it was, yo, pledge, go drive this person, go pick this person up, go drive this person. Because I drove that truck, so I was helping people move. It was It was a rough semester.
Having a truck in college being a pledge is probably the worst thing ever.
I was always on the keg runs. Always. Rollie Chair, number 72. When I pledged my fraternity, one of the fraternity brothers, named Forrest Grimes, got his hazing privileges taken away for pissing on my pledge class. For years, Forrest denied that he had pissed on us, but we knew the truth. One night after a party, a group of us were hanging out in our fraternity house drinking. All of the guests were gone. My fraternity brother, Ovi, was trying to fix a light that had gone out, and he was standing on a rolly chair. Forrest ran up and kicked the chair out from Ovi for no reason other than his own sick enjoyment. Ovi fell hard and got the wind knocked out of him. I thought he'd broken his neck. Nobody laughed except for Forrest. After we helped Ovi up, he went off on Forrest. Forrest just said he was trying to be funny and refused to apologize. Ovi told Forrest that nobody liked him. This is when Forrest turned to me and said, "Strikes?" as if I was going to salvage the situation or give him assurance that he was liked. Neither was going to happen. I looked him in the eyes and said, "You pissed on my pledge class in the basement. Are we supposed to be chums?" This is when Forrest finally admitted it. We all got pissed on, man. I was much bigger than Forrest, and I wouldn't let him out of the living room. He had no choice but to listen to what I had to say. I said, "If you realize something is fucked, you stop the buck with yourself. That's part of being a man." Forrest was upset because he realized we thought he was a cunt. He grabbed a 40-ounce beer bottle that had been sitting in our living room for months. People had been using it as an ashtray. It had cigarette butts in it, and it wasn't even beer colored anymore. He said, "If I drink this, will it make it up to you guys?" "Don't drink that, man. It will only prove you're an idiot," I said. "Fuck it. That'll make me happy. Drink it," Ovi said. Forrest started drinking the bottle, but he couldn't finish it. I didn't need to get Forrest back. When he finally admitted that he pissed on my pledge class, it was all I needed to hear. When Forrest stopped drinking out of the bottle, he asked Ovi if they were even. Ovi said, "Fuck no, I still hate you." It was satisfying to hear Forrest admit the truth after 3 years. After that night, I put the pissing incident behind me. I
That's
hate
true.
that response. I hate that response to, like, "Do you want to hit me? I did something bad to you. We just hit me and we're even?" Because, like, you don't know how to correct it, and you go to something like it's a cop out. It's a cop out. Like, I remember kids in school, like, you shove past somebody a little too hard in the hallway. It's like, "Hey, man, that really fucking hurt." "Oh, hit me. Oh, I'm sorry, man. Like, hit me back and we'll be even." It's like, "Nah, dude, just fucking stop shoving your way through the hallway." Like,
Yep.
I don't want to hit you back. I want you to stop being a dick. I don't want you to drink something gross. I want you to stop being a dick. It's really simple, and some people just don't get that.
It's shitty
Like,
because they don't get it until somebody gets really hurt. Like if Ovi would have broken
yeah,
his neck, then
yeah,
he
that
would
would
have
have been
learned, but at the cost of Ovi's fucking neck.
right. And that's just crazy to me. Just that bargain, that whole bargain of like, "Oh, if I drink this, will it make us even?" No, dude. If you commit right now to never doing stupid shit like this
Mhm.
again, that's how we're even.
It's like, cool, I can put the pissing thing in the past, but now I gotta remember that you almost murdered Ovi.
Right.
We've traded one evil for the other.
Drives me nuts. Next one is Binomial. I'm gonna read this one too. I'm taking over your book.
I like it.
The characters. The characters are Jewel, Cassandra, Kyle, Maria, and Sapphire. There was a sweetheart in our fraternity named Maria. She was a real girlfriend type. The type you wouldn't let lay pipe for months. The type that wouldn't let you lay pipe for months. Kyle started seeing her, and sure enough, it was 3 months before they finally had sex. A few days later, the students left for Thanksgiving break. Kyle called Maria to hang out because they lived close to one another and she wasn't feeling it anymore. Kyle was heartbroken. When they got back to school, the fraternity had a party. Kyle and Maria both attended but didn't talk to one another. During the party, Kyle started dancing with a beautiful girl named Sapphire. She was friends with a few of our sweethearts. For fun, she called over 2 of our other sweethearts, Jewel and Cassandra. They both started dancing with Kyle too. The entire time, Maria was watching and searing with madness. She came over to Kyle and asked what he was doing. He said, "You blew me off. I thought we were over." She freaked out and the party stopped. He told her to leave him alone. After this drama, the fraternity was divided for weeks because of this girl's craziness and jealousy.
Can I tell you what my favorite
Wow.
part of that story is? Searing with madness.
Searing.
Because you can visually
Mad-
see, like, in a
yeah.
party, everybody's having a good time, like, and then there's somebody in the back, like,
I like how you went to Sandstorm there. That was nice.
Thanks, bro. I wanted everybody listening to have a good time. No, we're really jamming out.
You really put the moment in perspective when you go to Sandstorm by Darude, and it's immediately recognizable. Oh man, I can hear it in my head. I can see the smoke coming off of her head.
Yep, we've already gotten a copyright strike on the YouTube channel for singing along to it too much.
There's no way that we were close enough to it.
Perfect.
There was no way that hit the algorithm. And if it did, you should be impressed with my singing ability. And yours.
The other two great parts about this story are, if she's named Sapphire, she's fucking gorgeous. And or the exact opposite of. So one of the two. But if it's making somebody sear in madness, then she's gorgeous. And then, Cassandra and Jewel are just the party types. Jewel pisses herself. Cassandra is a fucking goddess that attracts all men. Yeah, I mean, come on. Speaking of
Jewel, I think Jewel was the one that was she was my big sister, I think.
I think so.
Yeah. She was the party queen, man.
Yes. Yeah.
I think her and my mom went head to head on keg stands.
Who won?
I think maybe my mom.
I wouldn't have asked if I didn't think that there could have been some chance.
My mom can do a longer keg stand than I can, man. It was embarrassing back in those days.
So speaking of older women, this is a great segue into 92 Oceanography.
Oh, right.
So,
what an unintentional segue, too.
It just happened, and I'm happy that we're able to flow with it. So This is about me and my oceanography professor, who may or may not still be teaching at this university. She did not sign the release. We just changed names. When I was 19 years old, I was a broke college kid. When I say broke, I mean fucking broke. I had a suspended license, and I didn't own a vehicle. I was the epitome of a bum. But I did have an apartment. Unfortunately, the apartment was located in a less than desirable neighborhood in Virginia Beach. I took the public transit system to get to work and to classes. It was adequate enough that I never had any problems with transportation. This was until the day that my oceanography class was set to go on a nautical expedition. The trip was worth 40% of our grade. The boat, I know. The boat we were using for the expedition was housed in a nearby naval base. To enter the naval base, and this is like a post 9/11 thing, to enter the naval base, individuals had to be in a vehicle. This meant that I would have to ask one of my classmates to drive me. If I could have taken the bus and walked onto the military base, I would have. It could have been so much less embarrassing. Sadly, I hadn't taken the time to make friends with anyone in class because it was a summer session. And this is just a side note, and it was fucking TCC, and all of my friends were at Radford. So I'm like, I'm out of this bitch in a while. Like, unless you guys are up for some quick partying or whatever, or want to come on a Radford trip, really, I'm working in class. I don't need to make any friends in VB.
TCC.
Yeah, TCC. T to the C to the C. I don't care where you get your education. Education's education, but I just wasn't looking for a lot of companionship and more people at that time. I had oodles of friends. My phone was nonstop vibrating for lots of reasons. I didn't ask any of my friends to drive me that weren't in the class because they would have had to give up their whole day. So they would have had to driven me there and then sat there all day waiting for me to come back and then driven me home. So when I explained my situation to my professor, who already had a crush on me, she offered to drive me. I didn't have a choice, or I'd fail the class. I had to let my teacher drive me to and from the naval base. While she was driving me home, she kept reminding me how much she liked me. She wanted to know more about what kind of women I was attracted to. I tried to remain as disengaged as possible, keeping my answers short and sweet. When we got to my apartment, she could tell I was not interested in anything more than the ride back home. I thanked her and got out of the car as quickly as I could. It was hard to continue going to class for the rest of the semester because my teacher wanted to engage in a sexual relationship with me. I am ungodly parched right now. Holy shit.
Yeah. Yeah, I just had like a brutal coughing fit.
So I just want to point out that this was not the first and this was not the last professor that made it evident that I could fuck them. When I went to university at Trent, I had my Indigenous Studies teacher invite me over to her house for wine. And I had my English teacher stare at me so much in class and also invite me for some things. And people outside of class said, "Do you and the teacher have a relationship? Because she's been staring at you all class." And I'm like, bro, I can't fucking do anything about somebody looking at me. Like, even a cat can look upon a king. There's nothing I can fucking do.
Oh, even a cat can look upon a king.
Yeah, bitch. I'm not saying I'm a king. That's just one of the oldest.
Said that with a British accent with that delivery.
That's just one of the oldest lines that I remember. That like even a cat can look upon a king. So don't get offended if somebody's looking at you and you're upset about it. Like even an animal can look at another animal.
These are true things.
These are very true things. So it's your turn to read. It's just a fiance.
It's just a fiance. It's not like it matters or anything. It's just a fiance. One weekend. This is Forrest. Another Forrest winner for you folks. If we were to write a fictitious story about a fraternity, right,
Forrest would be every character in it.
He would be in another fraternity and he would be the villain. He wouldn't be in the same fraternity as us, and he would be in another fraternity and he'd be the villain.
I don't know why I think of some Aryan in a polo shirt with fucking pool shoes on, who's like something the third.
Right. Forrest Griminal the Third.
My name is Forrest Grimes the Third. What business do you have here? After you, sir. It's just a fiance.
Just a fiance. One weekend at Radford University, we were throwing an amazing rager at our fraternity house. Some of my fraternity's alumni came into town, including Forrest Grimes and his fiancée. We partied all day, and Forrest's fiancée couldn't hang. Before our 11 p.m. party, she went back to the hotel that they were staying at for the weekend. When she left, Forrest stayed for our party. During the party, Forrest ended up serving at the fraternity's shot and shooter bar. There was a girl that had been seriously flirting with him all night. Of course, him blowing her off, saying that he had a fiancé, made her pursuit of him even more aggressive. She decided that she wouldn't take no for an answer as she slipped behind the bar. She got on her knees and pulled his dick out of his khakis. He didn't resist at all as she started to give him a blowjob while he continued to serve drinks. The music was so loud, the lighting was so bad, and there were so many people, nobody even noticed. There he was, a specimen of loyalty. His fiancée, it was in their hotel room waiting for him to get back, and he was getting domed from some random college girl. He continued serving shooters and shots until he finished. The girl slid back into the party and left. He never saw her again, and to this day, he still can't remember her name. He and his fiancée got married, and they had 2 children together. She still doesn't know about this story.
Okay. The part that just bothers me the most about the story, other than the next book I write, I need to use a different phrase for a penis coming out of a pants, other than she pulled the dick out of her pants, because we're going to read 2 stories tonight that have that exact same phrase in it, and I hate using the same phrase twice.
She released his manhood.
Yeah, but there's 100,000 different things we could think of together or are separate. I don't know. We can come together after this.
As she unleashed the Kraken.
So the most important thing is that the Kraken does not come out during this. The second most important thing is that he's probably going to go home and hook up with his fiance at the time, and that's just not fair. Well, it's not fair, period. But if the girl would have had like an STD or something, and he instantly,
that would have been way messed up.
Yeah, I think that's the most fucked up part about cheating. is that you can bring sexually transmitted diseases back to your partner, and then it fucks them over.
Yeah,
I've been lucky
totally.
enough that I've been a loyal guy, and I haven't had, I don't know if I have, any chicks cheat on me and bring back STDs. I know they might have cheated on me, but they didn't bring back STDs, so that's the great part. But yeah, I'm thankful for where I'm at.
Well, I have a song about STDs.
And it's at the beginning of our podcast.
The lyric-free version.
Yes.
I have to re-record it and get some lyrics in there.
Where will it be available? We don't have a Patreon.
I'll legit release it. If I record it, I will legit release it on Spotify,
Perfect.
Amazon. It'll be available everywhere. And it's yeah. It's about it's actually about a fraternity brother who got an STD, and the phrase that is used in one of these stories about "rap that rascal" is in the song. Yeah.
LT.
Yep. And then so a urinary tract infection
A UTI.
is treated like an STD.
I think we already read the story about the rap rascal, and it was the Ron Russo one.
Mm-hmm. See, I had an incident where I was pissing blood and went to the hospital. I was like, "What's wrong with me?" And it was a UTI. And they're like,
Gross,
"Yeah,
bro.
yep." But that's not one of the big STDs,
No. I mean, it's not like what will get us demonetized. Okay, never mind. It's not like all of the things that you can Google right now on your own when you type in STD and discard all the short-term disability ones. Go ahead.
Yeah, because there are some STDs that are very, very treatable, and crazy spreadable. Like there's one of them that like women can carry them and not know that they are carriers,
The
and
H
give
to
it
the
to
P to the
dudes.
V.
Is that the one?
Yes.
All right. I just know I know that you got Rap That Rascal, man.
There is a super drug right now, and I'm not condoning unsafe sex. I think that everybody should be safe, especially when they're fucking lots of people in their young age or old age, whatever. Safe sex is good. And get tested. There's a drug that will prevent a lot of AIDS transmission. It's 99.9% effective. I will look it up and I will tell you what it is after this. But you can read.
Your color just changed.
I know, it's because I'm pulling it up right now because I don't want to give false medical facts. Okay, you can read. You can finish, and by the time you're finished, I will have an answer on what this is and what it.
All right. I gotta position the book. You Can Finish, featuring Avery and Nikki. My fraternity had nicknames for all the girls that we tore up. The most memorable of all those nicknames was You Can Finish. Her real name was Nikki. She was a woman willing to sacrifice her own dignity to satisfy the pleasure of her partner. Avery was the first person in the fraternity to hook up with her. The first night they hooked up, they were outside of one of our house parties. Nikki pulled Avery's dick out of his pants. Nikki whipped Avery's willy out.
See? Isn't it like, okay, Mike, you've used it once, you gotta switch it up.
Nikki released Avery's kraken.
Like, of course you pulled the dick out of his pants. How else were you gonna give him a blowjob? Inside of his pants? Inside job? Sorry, go ahead.
Nikki used the power of teleportation and removed Avery's dick from his pants and gave him a blowjob. Then she stood up and hiked her skirt up. They started having sex against one of the outer walls of her fraternity house. A few moments into the encounter, Avery pooped his pants. He told Nikki, and she said, "That's okay. You can finish." What a team player. Later that night, Avery told us what had happened.
Yeah. And then you know that telling young men a story like that, that's all they see when they see the woman now, and that's forever what they call her, is You Can Finish. That's what her name is. So it's called PrEP, which is pre-exposure prophylactics. And yeah, that's it. It's a medicine taken to prevent getting HIV. It's highly effective and reduces HIV from sex by about 99% and reduces the risk of HIV from infection by an injected drug use by at least 74%.
Dude.
Yeah, so the stuff that they have available to them now is a lot more handy. Like, that's amazing just to be able to have if you're, I don't know, kind of like a wild bar person or you're blacking out, just to save yourself from yourself.
Yeah.
I don't know. I hate that that's the like part that you have to put on it, the caveat. I guess if you're a habitual drug user too, the doctor should just put you on that.
Be smart.
Yeah.
Be very preventative.
Oh, this next one is a hairy situation. Is that what we want to read? Okay, so hairy situation. Me, Raph, and an anonymous woman. When I was in my early 20s, I was living with some friends in Virginia Beach. When one of my roommates had his 20th birthday, we threw him a surprise party. His name was Raph, like Raphael from the Ninja Turtles. We threw him a pretty decent party. We had far more liquor than our young livers could consume, and we spent the whole night drinking and smoking. We partied and celebrated Raph's 20th birthday like the apocalypse was on the horizon. There was a girl in some tight, sexy leotards that kept trying to flirt with me throughout the night. I didn't pay much attention to her because I was more concerned with making sure that Raph had a great time. This was about him, not me. When I ignored the girl, it must have driven her crazy. At one point in the night, she cornered me when I was coming out of the bathroom and started making out with me forcefully. It felt like somewhat of a rape scene, but she wasn't bad looking, so I went with it. Which is funny that that's just a sidebar here, that's...
What a long-winded way of saying you can't rape the willing.
Yes. Or if that she would have been unattractive, I would have been protesting. Unattractive to me, which is,
subjective.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you. Reading my mind. I'm using all of my brain power to keep saliva in my mouth. I'm getting a cup of water right after this, and you're going to read knock knock. Okay. She wasn't bad looking, so I went with it. It had been a while, at least a few weeks, since I had sex with anyone. At this point, my penis switched my brain into autopilot. The kissing and rubbing passed the threshold of asking, are we going to do this? I picked her up and threw her on my bed. I was so excited to straight up go down on this girl as I kissed from her neck down to her leotards. When I say excited, like, ooh, man, I'm excited. Like, whoo, ooh. I pulled them down, and at that moment, I was hit with the largest, unmaintained pubic forest I've ever laid my eyes upon. I held back a quick gag. How in the hell was I supposed to find her clit? The idea of having to use a machete to get to it was vile. This whole time, I hadn't skipped a beat. Although I had gagged, I continued using my fingers to please her. While I fingered her, the processing power of my brain was working double time. I was trying to figure out how I could defuse the human hand grenade that I'd pulled the pin on. And after I had worked her up enough, she grabbed me and told me to fuck her. So I pulled some condoms out of my side table and did as she asked. The entire time we were having sex, I couldn't get the idea out of my mind that I was laying pipe in some Amazonian rainforest. When she told me she was going to come and not to stop, I stopped. She asked what was wrong. I didn't hesitate. I said, you got to go in the bathroom and shave. There are new razors under the sink. She asked if I was kidding, and I shook my head. The silence that followed was very disturbing. She got up, opened my door, went to the bathroom, and I heard the shower running for about 30 minutes. This entire time, there's a party happening in my house unabated. Like everybody's just partying the whole time, and like we're a man down. So my poor buddy on his birthday is having to like, you know, kind of make sure shit's not getting broken, stolen, that people aren't like fucking shit up, and he's got to be able to relax. Back to the story. She came back and she had shaved everything. It was a drastic transformation. The second time, I was able to enjoy myself as well. When we were done, I hopped in the shower to quickly rinse off. Bro, there were pubes everywhere. Like everywhere. Like when I say everywhere, you would have had to have put a clump in your hand and fucking tossed it, and then when it hit the wall, grabbed some of it and threw it sideways, like everywhere. I don't even know how it was possible. I don't know how one person,
baby.
She saved up pubic hair from birth. So
that's not number 96. You have 96 hairy situation.
I know, but 93 is hairy situation, and I'm also not even done reading it. Okay. So it's just because this story has like so many like, oh, shockers. Like what a disgusting
This was not on
man.
the reading list tonight, and I was not ready.
I'm so sorry. Okay, so I wasn't done cleaning myself off. Well, I tried to use all the water to shoot the pubes towards the drain, obviously. But I wasn't done cleaning myself off when I realized that the water wasn't draining. Her pubes had clogged the drain. So, I dried myself off, I put my clothes back on, and I walked out of the bathroom. And for the second time that night, she was there waiting for me. So, like, this should have been a red flag, bro. Like, you can't even get out of the bathroom. This girl's standing at the door. Which might have been great for some guys that like the clingy girl, but okay. She said, I used the other bathroom and I've been waiting for you. And like I said, all the red flags were going off that this woman was a clinger, and I had just committed the ultimate mistake. I'd fucked a drunken clinger. Luckily, I had at least used a condom. Unfortunately, in my 20s, I wasn't very good at telling girls to get lost, and it took me a total of 8 days to get this woman to leave our house. She followed...
To leave the house?
To leave the
like
house.
She was...
So like, yo, we're gonna go get some food. No worries, I'll chill here. Bro, you gotta get her to go. Hey, do you want to come with us? No, I can just hang out here. You want me to vacuum? Dude, she wants to vacuum. All right, let her vacuum. All right, we'll be right back. Like, and then it started to get crazy. So she followed Raph and I everywhere. There were times that we did go out with her. I finally got her to leave by telling her that she was clingy. She slapped me across the face and called me a few names, and then she cried and said she was sorry. I think I bit the bullet so that her next sexual partner wouldn't have to endure her unshaven man trap. A few weeks later, her neighbor I had known from high school called me. She asked, "Are you still dating my neighbor? And if not, do you want to go on a date sometime?" So like, dude, this is like the sequel. So I explained that I had never dated her neighbor and that she was a Klingon. I told her I wasn't interested in dating anyone and thanked her, wished her well, and hung up the phone.
Wow. Was that a bait call, you think? Where it was like actually...
Like she's sitting in the room? Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe. I'd known the other girl for a long time, though. She used to drive me to school. I didn't know that she was neighbors with the psychopath. But like when the two things came together, I was like, she was sort of a weird bird.
She went from clinger to psychopath, huh?
I did make a drastic jump there.
That
but
was a big change.
You know what? I retract that statement just in case, because I have so much libel on this book already. Like, it is so in the red, but I just love telling stories, so whatever. Fuck you guys. Last one for this one. You're gonna read,
right?
Yeah, you're gonna read Knock Knock, and I'm gonna get water while he's reading Knock Knock. Actually, I'll hang out here.
Can't wait till I'm done reading Knock Knock.
No, I guess I'll hang out.
Guess I'll chill. Hey, read for the audience. I'm gonna take a break.
Yeah, see you later.
Knock Knock.
Oh yeah, was I supposed to hit record? Sorry,
Oh,
I actually did this time. I was just saying. After you.
Knock Knock, featuring you and Sarah. I've had a lot of missed sexual opportunities in my life. What's interesting is that I've missed out on more threesomes than I have regular hookups. A regular hookup being me and one other person. One night I had a girls' field hockey player in my bed named Sarah. I had been seeing her for 2 or 3 weeks. Her body was absolutely incredible. I wasn't trying to date her, but I definitely was trying to keep her around to smash. We had finished having sex and we were lying in bed watching some dolphin documentary on the Animal Planet channel. There was a knock on my bedroom door. It was 3 or 4 a.m. at this time. I answered the door, and 2 drunken girls were standing there. The 2 girls were sophomores and frequented our fraternity parties. They saw Sarah in my bed and asked if they could hang out. I stood there processing all the possibilities. I turned and looked at Sarah. I didn't have to say words. I just smiled. Sarah pulled the covers up to her tits and said, "Absolutely not." I sighed and looked back at the 2 drunken, horned-up girls. Sadly, I said, "All right, well, it was worth a shot. Why don't you go to Corbin's room and ask him?" It was depressing because I missed the opportunity. The least I could do was send them to a friend's room. I sent them to my frat buddy's room, who I knew would be able to smash. He still owes me for that night.
That's true.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, my parched friend needs some water. So we're going to wrap up this episode. But we'll be back really soon with another.
See you next time.
Bye.